The horse went down just after dawn. Thomas Garrett heard the leg snap before he saw it, a sound like green wood breaking. The animal tried to stand twice, then stopped trying. He was 4 days from the nearest town. Thomas was 26 years old in the spring of 1875. He worked cattle for a rancher named Hollis, moving herds between grazing land in southern Texas and railheads further north. He wasn't a gunfighter. He wasn't an outlaw. He was a working man who spent most of his time alone or with other men who spoke very little. The work was simple in theory. Keep the cattle moving, keep them fed and watered, get them to the buyer before disease, weather, or thieves took them first. In practice, it meant long days in the saddle, sleeping on hard ground, and weeks without seeing another woman, child, or town. Thomas had done this for 5 years. He knew how to read the sky. He knew when a cow was sick before it showed. He knew how to keep a fire going in wet wood. But he also knew that out here, small mistakes had long consequences. The morning the horse fell, Thomas had been riding along a dry creek bed, scanning for water. The herd was a half-mile behind him, moving slow under a white sun. He didn't see the hole, neither did the horse. The animal's front leg went through rotted earth and hit stone underneath. The snap echoed in the quiet. Thomas rolled clear as the horse went down. He stood, checked himself, then walked back to the animal. It was still breathing, eyes wide, nostrils flared. He knelt beside it and ran his hand along the leg. The bone had broken clean through just above the knee. There was no fixing it. He stayed there for a moment. Then he stood, pulled his rifle, and did what had to be done.
A cowboy without a horse wasn't a cowboy. He was a man on foot in country that didn't forgive walking. Thomas took what he could carry. The saddle was too heavy. He kept his bedroll, canteen, rifle, and a sack of cornmeal. He left the rest. The sun was already high. The nearest town was a place called Carrizo Springs, 4 days east if you were riding. On foot, maybe 6, maybe 7. He had water for 2 days if he rationed it. He started walking. The first day wasn't the hardest. His legs were strong. The air was dry, but not brutal. He kept a steady pace and didn't think too far ahead. By evening, his boots had started to rub. He made camp under a mesquite tree, ate a handful of cornmeal mixed with water, and tried to sleep. The ground was harder than he remembered. The second day, the heat came earlier. By mid-morning, his shirt was soaked through. He found a creek bed, but it was dry. He kept walking. Thirst makes a man think in circles. Thomas found himself remembering things he hadn't thought about in years. His mother's kitchen, the sound of rain on a roof, a girl he'd known in San Antonio who smiled when she poured coffee. He shook his head and kept moving. By the third day, his canteen was nearly empty. His lips had cracked. The blisters on his feet had opened and bled into his socks. He saw a rider in the distance once, but the man didn't see him. Thomas didn't call out if he did. He wasn't sure the man would stop even if he did. That night, he made no fire. He lay on his back and looked at the stars and thought about how quiet the world could be.
On the 4th day, Thomas found water. It was a small spring, barely more than a seep coming out of a rock face. The water pooled in a shallow basin, murky and warm. He dropped to his knees and drank. It tasted like iron and earth, but it was water. He filled his canteen. He soaked his bandana and pressed it to his face. He sat in the shade and didn't move for an hour.
While he rested, he saw something carved into the rock above the spring. Initials: J.M. 1869. Someone else had been here 6 years ago. Maybe they'd been lost too. Maybe they'd made it out. Or maybe they hadn't. Thomas didn't know. He didn't think about it long. He stood, shouldered his pack, and kept walking. He reached Carrizo Springs on the evening of the 6th day. It wasn't much of a town: a general store, a livery, a saloon with a crooked porch, maybe 30 buildings in all. Thomas walked to the livery and spoke to the man there. He explained what happened. The man listened, nodded, and offered him work mucking stalls in exchange for a roof and a meal. Thomas took it.
He stayed in Carrizo Springs for 2 weeks, long enough to heal his feet, long enough to earn a little money and buy a used saddle. He sent word to Hollis that he'd lost the horse. Hollis sent word back that he'd dock the cost from Thomas's pay. Thomas didn't argue. Eventually, he bought another horse, not as good as the one he'd lost, but it would do. He rode west, back toward the work. He didn't talk much about what happened. There wasn't much to say. A man lost a horse. A man walked. A man survived. That was the work. There were no newspapers written about Thomas Garrett, no songs, no legends. He spent the next 15 years moving cattle, sleeping rough, and sending money back to a brother in Missouri. He never married. He broke his collarbone twice. He lost 3 more horses, though none the same way as the first. In 1890, he took a job on a ranch in New Mexico and stayed there until his back gave out. He died in 1903 in a boarding house in Albuquerque with $11 in his pocket. That was the life. Not the one in dime novels, not the one in paintings, just the one that was. A man, a horse, the land, and the long walk between water and town.